Ever walk into a bank and feel like, whew, like you're stuck in a time warp?
Uh-huh.
The stiff suits, the endless paperwork, the feeling that you're just another transaction. We've all been there, right?
Yeah.
But what if I told you that your experience as a customer, the good, the bad, and the just plain frustrating, is directly shaped by something much deeper, the bank's culture?
It's true. We often think of banks as these cold, impersonal institutions, but the reality is they're made up of people, and those people operate within a culture, a set of values, behaviors, and beliefs that influence every decision they make.
So we're not just talking about interest rates and loan applications here.
Right.
This is about understanding the invisible forces that shape our banking experiences.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today with this article, Bank Culture, Transforming Banking Strategy with the UX Matrix.
What's fascinating about this article is that it goes beyond just defining bank culture. It introduces this really intriguing framework called the UX Matrix, which essentially helps us decode a bank's true cultural DNA.
Okay, let's unpack this UX matrix. I'm all about a good framework, especially when it helps me understand something as important as my banking experience.
It's brilliantly simple, really.
Mm-hmm.
The UX matrix looks at two key factors: value, and design value represents what the bank prioritizes. Is it profit above all else, or do they genuinely value their customers' well-being?
That makes sense. And design, I'm guessing, isn't about choosing the right shade of blue for their logo?
Not quite.
Mm.
In this context, design refers to how a bank brings its values to life for the customer through its products, services, and overall experience.
Okay.
Think of it like this. A bank can say they value customer experience, but if their app is a nightmare to use their promise, design is telling a different story.
It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Right.
So it's the alignment of what they say they value and how they actually deliver on that promise that determines their position on this UX matrix.
Exactly. And the article breaks down this matrix into 4 distinct bank cultures: the manufacturer, the seller, the innovator, and the disruptor. Each one has its own strengths and weaknesses, and understanding these archetypes can be incredibly insightful for anyone who interacts with banks, which is pretty much all of us.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's break down these 4 bank cultures, starting with the manufacturer. What sets them apart?
Think of the manufacturer as the old guard of banking. They're the institutions that have been around for decades, maybe even centuries, and they haven't felt the need to change much. They're all about efficiency, standardization, and sticking to what they know best, even if that means clinging to outdated systems and processes.
So they're not exactly known for their cutting-edge technology or customer-centric approach?
Not really.
Yeah.
They tend to see design as purely functional, a necessary evil to package their products. Remember those clunky banking apps we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
The ones that make you feel like you need a computer science degree to navigate?
Mm.
That's often a telltale sign of a manufacturer.
Got it. So they might prioritize value in terms of offering basic banking products, but their design definitely needs an upgrade. What about the seller? Are they any better?
They're definitely trying to win you over. Think of the seller as the bank that's always running flashy marketing campaigns and bombarding you with promotions. They've mastered the art of attracting new customers, but their focus is more on driving sales than building genuine long-term relationships.
I've been there. You sign up for that credit card with the amazing rewards program, but then you actually need customer support, and it's like pulling teeth.
Exactly, and that's the danger of the seller. They might have a sleek website and a catchy slogan, but if their actions don't match their words, customers will see right through it.
It's all about authenticity at the end of the day. So we've got the manufacturer who's stuck in their ways and the seller who's all talk and no action. Tell me there's a glimmer of hope for the rest of us who actually crave a positive banking experience.
There is. And that brings us to the innovator, the bank that's obsessed with technology and pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the financial world.
Okay, the innovator. They sound like my kind of bank. Always coming up with new features, exploring the latest fintech trends. Are we talking about my dream bank here?
They could be. Innovators are exciting because they're truly passionate about using technology to improve the customer experience. They're the ones experimenting with AI-powered chatbots, developing intuitive mobile apps, and generally trying to make banking faster, easier, and more accessible.
So they're definitely ticking the design box with all that innovation. But what about the value part of the equation?
That's the million-dollar question with innovators. Sometimes in their quest to be cutting edge, they can lose sight of the human element.
It's like they're so busy focusing on what's possible that they forget to ask if it's actually what people want or need.
Exactly. Imagine an app that's packed with so many features that it becomes overwhelming to use. Or a banking platform that relies so heavily on automation that you can't ever seem to reach a real person when you need help.
Okay, so innovation without a human-centered approach can backfire. It sounds like a delicate balancing act.
It is. And that brings us to the gold standard, the company that's managed to strike that perfect balance between innovation and customer centricity, the Disruptor.
The Disruptor. We've reached the top of the UX matrix mountain. I'm ready to be wowed. What sets these companies apart?
Disruptors are the companies that everyone is talking about, the ones with a cult-like following and a reputation for delivering truly exceptional experiences. And the interesting thing is they're not always the biggest or the most well-known brands.
So it's not just about having billions of dollars to throw at fancy technology.
Not at all. The article actually highlights this point with a really compelling example. It talks about a local restaurant that has become a disruptor in its own right.
Okay, a restaurant. I need to hear more about this. How does a restaurant become a disruptor in the world of banking?
This particular restaurant doesn't have a mobile app or a team of data scientists, but they've mastered something that many banks struggle with: genuine personalized service.
I can relate to that. We've all had those dining experiences where you feel like more than just a table number. The ones where the staff remembers your order, anticipates your needs, and goes above and beyond to make you feel special.
Precisely. And that's what disruptors understand: the power of human connection. They recognize that technology is simply a tool, and it's the human touch that truly elevates an experience from transactional to transformative.
So it's about creating that wow moment, that feeling of being seen and valued, whether you're walking into a restaurant or logging into your banking app.
Exactly. And what's so inspiring about this restaurant example is that it proves that these principles of customer centricity can be applied at any scale in any industry.
So what are some of the key takeaways? What can banks, or any company for that matter, learn from disruptors?
One of the biggest things is that disruptors are incredibly intentional about their company culture. It's not just something they talk about. It's woven into the very fabric of their organization. They hire for empathy and train for customer centricity.
So it's not just about having a killer customer service department. It's about that ethos permeating every single interaction a customer has with the brand.
Absolutely. Disruptors understand that every touch point matters,
Yeah.
from the way their employees answer the phone, to the design of their website, to the tone of their marketing emails.
It's about sweating the small stuff because those small details add up to a big impact on the customer experience.
You got it. And another hallmark of disruptors is that they're obsessed with feedback. They're constantly looking for ways to improve and actively solicit feedback from their customers at every opportunity.
So they're not just sending out those generic surveys that end up in my spam folder. They're actually listening to what their customers are saying and using that feedback to make things better.
Exactly. For disruptors, feedback isn't just about checking a box. It's about continuous improvement. They view it as a gift, valuable information that helps them refine their products, services, and processes to better serve their customers.
I love that perspective. It's about viewing feedback as an opportunity for growth rather than criticism.
Absolutely. And this brings us to a really crucial point: the power we have as consumers. Every time we choose to do business with a company, we're essentially casting a vote for the kind of world we want to live in.
That's a powerful way to think about it. So
Yeah.
we want to see more companies embracing this disruptor mindset. It starts with us being more conscious of where we spend our money.
Exactly. We can choose to support businesses that align with our values, the ones that prioritize customer experience, employee well-being, and ethical practices. When enough of us make those choices, it sends a powerful message to the market.
It's like that saying, vote with your wallet. We might not realize it, but our everyday choices can have a ripple effect.
They absolutely do. By supporting disruptors and holding other businesses to a higher standard, we can create a world where customer centricity isn't the exception, it's the norm.
I love that vision. So for all of us listening who are ready to seek out those disruptors, what are some things we can look for?
Pay attention to how a company makes you feel. Do they treat you like a number, or do they make you feel seen and valued? Do they go the extra mile to make your experience seamless and enjoyable?
It's about trusting that gut feeling.
Absolutely. Also look for companies that are transparent and communicative. Do they proactively share information? Do they make it easy to provide feedback and address concerns?
Those are all great things to keep in mind. It sounds like becoming a discerning customer is the first step toward creating a more customer-centric world.
Couldn't agree more. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into bank culture and the UX matrix.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. It's amazing how something as seemingly intangible as a company's culture can have such a profound impact on our experiences.
It really can. And the good news is, as we've discussed, we're not passive bystanders in this equation. We have the power to shape the future of business by being more conscious consumers and advocating for the kind of world we want to live in.
I love that empowering message. A huge thank you to our expert for taking us on this journey and for sharing such valuable insights.
Oh, pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you've gained some valuable insights that you can apply to your own lives. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.